Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. We had a bit of a challenge yesterday, and the question here is, will the video load today? Looks like we're rocking and rolling, so that's encouraging. Are we there? And it looks like we're there. Yay. That's good. All right, so we'll try and do this maybe in 10 minutes. I actually have a class I have to teach here in about 40 minutes, so I don't want to talk too much with you guys today. But I hope you're enjoying the free videos. I see lots of people were pretty choked that we ran into technical difficulties. And I was like, literally, YouTube couldn't have cut off the video at the worst moment. And I learned something earth-shattering. Now, you guys all need to know this. And what I learned was... beep. The video stopped. Sorry to do that to you guys, everyone. But anyway, like I said, let's just do a quick 10-minute summary here, and then I'll just get you guys on your way. No teasers. So, currency land, I think we talked about this yesterday. Beautiful shorting setup here on the British pound. We had, and also, too, we spent a lot of time in the daily brief picking apart the euro. Actually, I think there's a nice bearish bot with even a sexy algo signal working away here. Beautiful double top failure. Econs came out of Europe overnight. The train wreck continues. And whether it be things like euro bots or whether it be things like British pound double top failures, they're selling the euro here hard. European currencies hard here. As I had said, spend some time in the daily brief going through the econs. Econs out of Europe, train wreck. And then conversely, and this was kind of interesting, econs coming out of the States today were actually pretty robust. Consumers feeling still pretty happy. And manufacturing sectors relatively okay. So business as usual. And, of course, with a propensity of the U.S. to lower interest rates any further, I think is completely off the table now. I think that a lot of reason why they acted as aggressively as they did is they want to get all those rate cuts done ahead of the election year. So they're not perceived to be influencing politics through the election year in the U.S. And I think jamming all those rate decreases into the U.S. system has probably laid the groundwork for a substantial rally in the U.S. dollar and the strong U.S. economy going forward. In the face of absolute mess out of Europe, I love the idea, and of course new Fed governors, or not Fed, but ECB, central bank governors, this Lagarde lady. I think the market's going to test her hard, so if you can build short positions in European currencies, I like the idea. Interestingly enough, our sort of risk on, risk off kind of conversations. The yen, if the U.S. economy is doing relatively well, it's going to be tough to justify going and fearfully running into the yen. So, you can see it kind of floundering here. Gold also coming off. And, actually we took a real good look at the gold and the yen here. Gold's actually flashed a fractal sell signal here, believe it or not, on the rejection of the trend line and the 38.2 off its recent range. You can see the yen again against that trend line. Do we fractal out here? Probably won't know until today's business is done and we see what happens Sunday evening, Monday morning. But you could see there is a cute little M that could potentially come in here. And we've got these trend lines acting as sort of brick wall of resistance. Bonds, kind of whiffle off. I'm a bit surprised, frankly, that they're actually up on the day. Considering the econs out of the States are relatively positive. Is that a commentary about stocks maybe looking a little bit heavy up top here? I do see that stocks are trying to come back here a little bit. Oil's kind of paused here a bit. And then, of course, our conversation, risk on, risk off. What the hell is a Bitcoin these days? I don't know. I think, through Daily Brief, I went at length talking about how it sure smells to me like this backed futures product. Now they're saying that they have a cash-settled futures product that they're listed, so maybe they never wanted to do the physically delivered contracts to begin with. But it looks to me like that was an event that basically foreshadowed another dump. Wonderful. I still, and I also think too, which worries me, is that the point that I was going to make yesterday about crypto was, Binance just went through the process of setting up margin trading on their platform. So that means, and we haven't seen this in a while, it used to be like Poloniex was one of the few places that you could actually short altcoins in earnest. But what I'm hearing in the talk is that now Binance has taken over that job, and now we can actually have shorts on a lot of these altcoins as well. So, put that backdrop together. I won't go into these kind of conversations today in earnest, but we have talked lots recently about moving average crosses. Did they, the backed rally, did it really actually set up a new selling level for Bitcoin? I kind of think it did. Basically counter-trend rallies into original market structure failures. Now we're getting our moving average crossover bearish. We've broke to new lows, and I spent a lot of time in the daily brief today talking about how I was immensely pleased at the fact that we finally have hit this mountain man level. So, in a weird sort of way, and in a sort of what I was telling the site folks today, and keep in mind this is a log chart, so it's a little bit skewed. But we're now finally at the level where at least, little old ladies who are like, Brian, you told me I cannot buy unless we're at or below reload zones. At least now they can finally start thinking about actually going and buying some Bitcoins. My sort of general thesis of late has been I would like to see it press down into these levels. 4,000 or 5,000 would be comfortable for me. Is this the bottom? I don't think so, considering we just made a new low, kind of like when we made this low. Was that the bottom? Well, we're going to have to test it. We broke to new lows. We just made a new bottom. Is this the bottom? Probably not. We're going to have to test it. Boom, we've just made a new low. Is this the bottom? Well, we're probably going to have to test it at some point. But also, too, keep in mind, you see that the price likes to revisit this fast moving average fairly regularly. So now you can actually see that this fast moving average is sitting at about 87, 8,800. And here we are. We hit a low here this morning of 6,700. Believe it or not, I could actually see a couple weeks of some nice backfilling here, just to bring price back into sort of close proximity to moving averages. And I'm kind of seeing that across the board. Ethereum broke to new lows. Remember we said yesterday, be careful. Litecoin broke to new lows. Remember we said yesterday, be careful. We have AB equals CDs now at work, and that's what scares me about Ethereum is, oh boy, it's a long way down. So, can I tout the bullish horn? Not just yet. But, like I said, at the very least, now dollar cost averaging, little old ladies, we can at least now start to say, okay, they've taken the fluff out of price. Where exactly the bottom is, that's obviously tough to say. And of course, percentage-wise, it's still going to represent some pretty big numbers here. So, like I said, it's interesting. We're setting up an options trading plan on Deribit. And we want to fund the account because I do think there's going to be a rally sort of, into halvenings and all that kind of stuff. And so we've actually just said, we're not going to call the bottom on Bitcoin. That's a mug's game. But we do want to accumulate some Bitcoin because that's what you have to use as currency on Deribit. So just once a week over the next 8 weeks, we're just going to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Little old lady, nanny, nibbles, that kind of thinking. And we had to wait for, please just get us down into this reload zone. Now, I don't know where exactly the bottom is, but I'm more than happy to take the next couple months and just accumulate some Bitcoin in here because we are finally at reload zones. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people sort of make tertiary reference to the CME contract. And keep in mind, everybody, this gap is still open. It hasn't technically been closed. Now you can see we're coming into that gap now on the CME. The bottom of the gap there is 6,400. So don't be surprised. Like I said, V bottom, it will need to be tested. So I'm thinking that, over that sort of next 8 weeks into the end of the year, there is some sort of bottom that comes in here. But I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. And I certainly don't have any buy signals just right yet. It's kind of fascinating. I suppose I completely got derailed, but we did need to have a long talk about Bitcoin here. It's interesting. There are places in the stock market that are feeling uppy. Sonos here, for example, just broke to new highs this morning. So I'm still feeling pretty good about stock market rallies into Christmas. And if you can find hot products that are hot in the marketplace, my hunch is they'll do okay. Bitcoin alone, and we did take a look at a whole bunch of the crypto stocks in the daily brief today. I didn't see any bottoms. There's nothing to do there just yet. And like I said, we just broke to new lows, so there's no hurry here on Bitcoin. Now, it is interesting, like the altcoins, here, for example, this rep versus Bitcoin, you can actually see that it's already put in its bottom. If anything, ironically enough, pullbacks on something like this would actually be buying opportunities. So I do see that there are W's out there working. I was really pleased to see it, and I'm just going to tease you because I'm just such a jerk this way. But, just even as I was getting this video up and running, site members were, all right, I've got my list of weekly W's that are working, and I'm watching pullbacks into the bottom ends of ranges. There's the list, and it's gone. This happened to be one person on the TRI site that has got their shopping list. And should they see bottoms, W's, fractals, divergences start showing up on these lists as these names are testing the bottoms ends of their ranges, my hunch is they're going to be getting ready to buy. So the point that I would just make is that just because Bitcoin's in correction mode and the bigger crypto names are, that doesn't mean that all crypto is like that. And I still think this is very much a coin picker's market. Now, if you are sort of coin pickers market kind of person, what's the sort of health of the altcoin market? Should I be shopping? Should I just maybe leave this stuff alone? I thought it was interesting to keep an eye on this BNB because really I think how it develops, remember Bitcoin just had its big range 61.8 hit. This guy actually, it's taken a little bit long. He happened a bit earlier. And I think as this thing sort of plays itself out, I think that's sort of our fate here for crypto going forward. So let's keep a close eye on BNB. If you are a trader, then you notice there is a W here. There was a big rally. There was a sell-off. We are at or below reload zones. We are against key lows. Let's watch to see whether this thing can W. If these can hold these lows and we start working our way back up, then I think crypto party is back on. But for the time being, and I thought it was fascinating that news about Binance and them being able to short, and unfortunately I wasn't able to tell you yesterday, but what a coincidence. It seems like there's a high correlation between this dump here recently and me getting that news that Binance kids are actually shorting crypto now. They might even be shorting this BNB, who knows. You can see how it basically rallied right up into a reload zone, lost its lunch, and we're dumping now against key lows. So let's watch how this thing develops here. I think it's an excellent proxy on sort of the health of the altcoin market. And if this holds and it can turns back up, then I think we can go back into orgy mode. So stay tuned, folks. All right, I think I'll leave the free video at that. Have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.